Welcome back to City Focus. We have Teresa Moore here from the Heirs Property Law Group. She's going to tell us about why everyone should have a will. Welcome to the show, Teresa.
Thank you, Marcus.
Well, Teresa, many people believe, I don't have much, so why do I need to have a will? What's wrong with that way of thinking?
What's wrong with that way of thinking is that most people do not realize, even though they don't have, much or anything at all, that's still going to cause family discord. It's going to cause issues between the family. Having a will and having property and vehicles and things like that. If you have a will, those things can be distributed in your will. But also, people don't realize that people are going to fight over the cookie jar. They're going to fight over any little single thing. I like to tell everyone, having a will is important because it leaves a legacy to your family. It leaves them what you want them to have. And, even if it's your home or your car, or like I was left by my grandmother, a set of hair rollers. I mean, anything is better than nothing.
Okay. Or can you, I guess, those are little things. What are some of the major negative effects that not having a will can cause a family or,
Yes. The major negative effects that not having a will can cause the family is that it can cause heirs property. That is one of the things that the center, Georgia Heirs Property Law Center, works for, is to try to help keep heirs property under control or try to keep it down. And there's so much heirs property. There's billions of dollars worth of heirs property in the state of Georgia. And by having a will, you are able to actually say which of your children you would like that property to go to. Now, you can create heirs property even having a will, because if you leave it to all your children, then they all own it as joint tenants in common. And so the big thing is to make sure that as you do your will or your estate plan, that you're actually doing heirs property prevention. You're preventing that heirs property and that continuous cycle from happening.
Now, let's go backwards a little bit. Explain to people what exactly heirs property is and how it happens.
Heirs property is when a person passes away without a will or even with a will and leaves everything to their heirs. And your heirs are your children, or it can even, if you don't have any children, it can be your parents, it can be your sisters and brothers, it can be your nieces and nephews, it can be your family in general. And so if you pass away without a will or an estate plan, then everything you own is going to be left to everybody all together.
Okay.
And if you do have a will, but you leave it to everyone, you're still creating heirs property because it's not divided up.
Gotcha.
There are certain ways that our attorneys will work with individuals in helping them make their will and estate plan so that they actually have it specialized out and dictated out.
So, and I'm just going to use myself as an example here. If my parents passed away and they didn't have a will, that would go to my sister and myself, but also my parents' grandkids, my nieces and nephews, would have some right to those properties, correct?
No.
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Actually, heirs property stops when someone is alive. So what would happen is if your mom passed away and you and your sister inherited, as long as you were alive, you and your sister would be the heirs.
Gotcha.
If you passed away, then your children would become the heirs.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, the city's hosting a workshop for citizens to get a simple will in April. So what's the date of that workshop and what do people need to do in order to take part?
April 27th, and what happens there is you will actually get in touch with the neighborhood development at City Hall, and they will register individuals by giving them a packet, and once they get the estate planning packet and complete it, we will then go through and see who is eligible, and if you're eligible, we will get you in and you'll work with a pro bono attorney to create a simple will.
Okay. And I guess who all can take part in this event?
This is for low cost, or is for low income residents in the city of Valdosta. So anyone that is a resident of the city of Valdosta that is low income is eligible.
Okay. Anything else you think people need to know about this event?
This is a great way to get something that is needed within our communities at no cost to the individual, and it's just a great program. It's a great partnership between Georgia Heirs Property Law Center and the City of Valdosta and the Neighborhood Development Program. So it's just a great, great way to get something that people otherwise would not be able to receive.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming in and
Thank
talking
you.
to us about heirs property and telling people how they can get a simple will. And if you need more information on this event, contact Neighborhood Development at 671-3617, and we'll be back here on City Focus.